Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today about our discussion on stress and digestion. I want to first do a quick disclaimer. Any statements that are made today have not been evaluated by the FDA. Any products that are presented are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Okay? So why don't we just get started here? We're going to talk about how stress and digestion affect one another and what kind of healthy support we can find for it. So first we're going to talk about how stress and digestion affect each other. So either toxicity or deficiency are the major contributing factors with most illnesses. Did you know that the left brain controls our digestion, and what sets off the left brain activity but stress? So when we are stressed out, our digestive system gets totally out of whack. We get stomach aches, diarrhea, heartburn, the list can go on. So when we get stressed, it affects what our stomach is able to produce, the chemical production in it, meaning the acid. Stress reduces the amount of acid in the stomach, and when we have too little acid, then what we tend to do is eat foods that are hard to digest. We stress eat. What do we like to eat when we're stressed? Comfort foods, because we want to feel comfortable. And what happens when we do that? What happens when we eat is 90% is our stomach produces serotonin, because 90% of our serotonin is produced in the gut. I didn't know that. And serotonin is our happy neurotransmitter. And the gut contains 30% of our nervous system. Did you know that? That's just amazing to me. So what happens when we stress eat? Our stomach sort of freaks out and just doesn't know what to do. And so it gushes out all of this acid, because we have all this food now in the stomach, but there's not enough acid in there to take care of it. So it gushes out all this acid, and then we end up with this acid reflux. So let's move on. The next thing that happens when we have too little stress or too little acid in our stomach because of the stress, we cannot properly utilize minerals like calcium, zinc, copper, magnesium, chloride, or the B vitamins, which are the stress vitamins, and vitamin C. Therefore, we end up having deficiency. And on top of that, our stomach needs zinc, magnesium, and chloride in order to produce hydrochloric acid. So it's just kind of like a vicious cycle. The other thing that happens when our stomachs produce too little acid, and there's a decrease in acid, there's a decrease in pH. Why is this important to us? Because the pH value is a tool for measuring our health. It shows whether we're acidic or alkaline, how our body is too much acidic or alkaline. And it's very similar to how our body temperature is a tool to gauge how healthy we are. For instance, our average body temperature is 98.6. So if it gets higher than that or lower than that, we don't feel good. And so we know that there's something going on, something is wrong. And that's the way our blood pH value is. If it's not right, we're not going to feel good. So traditional medicine indicates that our blood value is 7. Dr. Robert Young more closely defines that normal pH to be 7.365. Very easy to remember, 7 days of the week, 365 days of the year. That 7.365 is just neutral. It's not acidic. It's not alkaline. If we were all 7.365, we would be like perfect. But we know none of us are perfect. So let's just consider if our pH is 6.365, that means we are 10 times more acidic than the normal range. If our pH is 5.365, we are 100 times more acidic than the normal range. So then we start to show symptoms of not feeling good. This graphic shows the different pH values of our digestive system, because everything in our body and everything has a pH value. Like calcium is highly alkaline at a pH of 12, potassium has a pH of 14. Everything has a pH value to it. But the digestive tract alone has 5 completely different, 6 completely different areas that have different pH values. Starting with the saliva in the mouth, which is 6.5 to 7.5, which, by the way, that's how we can measure what our blood pH is, because it very closely resembles what our blood pH should be or would be. But notice how the lower stomach is 1.5. It can get as low as 1.5 for a pH. Well, battery acid is a pH of 1. Now, we all know that battery acid is dangerous, and we wouldn't just dump battery acid on our skin because it would do a lot of damage. We'd have a severe burn. I mean, battery acid can actually eat through metal. So with stomach acid as low as 1.5, we wouldn't want our blood pH to be that, because our blood vessels would then completely be destroyed as the blood is running through it, because it's too acidic. So, but the stomach needs to have a blood pH of 1.5 because it needs to be able to break down all those different varieties of food and food components that we eat. So everything has a purpose. Let's now talk about healthy support and digestion. We can make and improve our digestion simply by some dietary changes. We can remove the junk that we eat, like the sugars, maybe gluten, if that's an issue for you. Not everybody has an issue with gluten, but if it is an issue with you, you should at least reduce it, maybe even remove it completely. We need to increase the good things like the greens and increase water. Water helps to flush out all those toxins that are in our body. Take a good probiotic. Essential oils are beneficial, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Who of us has a perfect digestive system? I know I don't. Anybody who knows me knows that I do not have a good digestive system. So none of us are perfect. That means none of us have perfect digestive systems, which means we all have some kind of digestive disorder or issues going on. Now, do we absorb 100% of what we eat? Absolutely not. We're not perfect. In fact, Dr. Jim Bob Hagerton did a lot of research on the subject of bioavailability. And he found that the majority of us only absorb about 15 to 30% of what we take in. That's not very much. Does eating organic improve it? No. Does taking supplements improve that percentage? No, it doesn't. Should we stop doing those things? No. That just means it might decrease the amount that the quality of what we take in. So what we can do, though, is improve our bioavailability or our absorption rate. How can we do that? Again, Dr. Hagerton, through his research, discovered that supplements that are infused with essential oils increases bioavailability by 60 to 80%. Instead of 15 to 30%, 60 to 80%. That's huge. So as an example, 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, bioavailability absorption would increase from 150 to 300 milligrams to 600 and 800 milligrams. Can't get better than that. We'll never have 100% because, again, we're not perfect. But we can improve what we are able to absorb, the amount we can absorb. So probiotics was one of the things mentioned. You want to make sure you have a really good probiotic. And what are probiotics? Think of them as medieval castle walls that are protecting your digestive system from intruders. How can we get probiotics? There's sauerkraut, kimchi, pickles, kombucha, yogurt. Life 9 probiotics by Young Living is an awesome option. Any probiotic you have, you want to be able to make it acid resistant. So that means you want to have a delayed reaction capsule, which Life 9 does. That means it's acid resistant. And the 9 different strains of bacteria that are in it have been researched very careful to make sure that they are also acid resistant. So it makes me almost wonder about when we eat the foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, pickles, kombucha, and yogurt, how much of that is destroyed in our stomach then because of the acid that's in there? Just a thought. I'm not quite sure. I haven't researched that. So other ways of being able to improve our digestion and our absorption is by just using essential oils themselves. Digest and Digest Vitality are fantastic. We should never be without it. If we're traveling, if we are going to restaurants, think we're going to be eating some rich foods. But why is it beneficial? Because it balances pH. And we know already what happens with our pH. It's very important to our health to not be too acidic, because acidic conditions is what brings on illness and disease. So fennel is the main ingredient. It increases motility and contractions of the intestines. Ginger supports digestion and promotes a healthy blood sugar, and it's antispasmodic. Peppermint is very calming, may reduce IBS-like symptoms triggered by stress. Juniper stimulates digestive enzymes, purifies and detoxifies. Tarragon soothes cramping, and it's antiparasitic. Lemongrass is anti-inflammatory. Anise increases motility, regulates gastric acid secretion, peristalsis, and pH. Patchouli soothes and prevents abdominal discomfort. And just a side note, if the batch of Digest or Digest Vitality that has been recently distilled and collected does not meet Young Living standards, they don't just sell it off to a market, for some other foreign market, for a lesser price. They actually dump it out on the ground as fertilizer to help build up the soil that's going to produce the next crop. Isn't that awesome? That's just amazing. Alkaline contains lemon and lime, which again, they're citrus oils, and again, they balance pH. Alkaline focuses on the bile. Citrus oils focus on the bile in the gallbladder. So one of the functions of the gallbladder is to maintain a healthy concentration of bile as it's produced by the liver. So this is kind of like a balancing act, though, because if there's not a proper concentration, then there may not be enough active ingredients to break down a heavy load of fat. And then, of course, you're going to have digestive issues. If the gallbladder performs too much concentration, then there's a lack of water, and so formation of gallstones could occur. So it's really a fine line there to have a good balance in the gallbladder. Alkaline can help. Multigreens. Remember, what was the things, part of the diet changes? Increase good, which was increase the greens. So here is multigreens. It is a chlorophyll formula that was created to boost vitality by working with glandular, nervous, and circulatory systems. It combines spirulina, alfalfa sprouts, barley grass, bee pollen, Pacific kelp, and other greens that help energize the body and boost vitality and support liver function. So remember, Dr. Hagerton had said supplements infused with essential oils increase that absorption or that bioavailability. This product is infused with rosemary, so it supports our endocrine system. Lemon, the immune system and the pH balance. Lemongrass supports the digestive system, and Melissa energizes the body and fights against naturally occurring inflammation. Wonderful product. Let's focus now on how we can get healthy support for our stress. it comes to reason that if we have increased stress, our digestion is chaotic. So therefore, if we want to improve our digestion, we have to reduce the stress. Stresses come from all directions at us. Sometimes we can control the stresses, sometimes we can't. Most of the time we can't. So what we have to do is learn how to manage the stress. Find ways in which we can manage the stress so that our gut doesn't have to. In other words, how we deal with the stress determines how our body will react. So let's see what we can do about that. Stress Away blend, hands down, is one of the most common things that people use for stress. You can apply it to your wrists. You can apply it to your back of the neck. You can put it on a cotton ball and put it in the vent of your car as you're driving to keep you calm while all the crazies out there are driving around you. And so it helps reduce nervous tension. It relieves daily stress, promotes restful sleep. Air freshener, it helps with relaxation of our mind and promotes peace. And it helps with emotional balance and hypertension. So what exactly is in Stress Away? Stress Away has the ingredients of copaiba, lime, cedarwood, ocodia, and lavender. And lavender is what we're going to talk about next. It is like the Swiss Army knife of essential oils because it has so much versatility for so many uses. But today we're only going to talk about its application to stress. You can unwind by just putting a few drops in an Epsom salt bath. It helps us to adapt to occasional stress. It relaxes and calms us for a restful sleep. If we don't get enough sleep, we end up being more stressful. So sleep is very important. It diffuses. You can diffuse it for a comforting and relaxing environment. Apply a few drops to your feet for a restful night's sleep, or make a spray out of it and spritz your nighttime pillow with it before you go to bed. Add a few drops to your favorite lotion or shampoo or skincare products. As I mentioned, the uses are virtually endless with it. Now, there's also bath bombs. Go fill up a tub of water, add a Stress Away or a lavender infused, already prepared bath bomb, and you have your own spa. Well, peace and calming. Peace and calming is a great blend. It has Northern Lights black spruce, German chamomile, tangerine, and orange and bergamot. Citrus, those are citrus oils that in themselves, citrus oils are very upbuilding and uplifting for our mood. We also have ylang-ylang, patchouli, vetiver, cistus, cassia, devana. These are all oils that promote calming, evokes positive emotions. It promotes healthy sleep patterns. A lot of people use this as a family routine at night. Putting it on each family member's feet before going to bed. It's emotionally uplifting. As I mentioned, it's got the citrus oils in it. And a lot of times it can be very helpful and calming for fussy children or hard to manage young ones. So peace and calming is very supportive for the nervous system and emotional balance, as is Valor. Valor is a very positive woodsy aroma. It's also very uplifting. It's invigorating. It inspires courage. So if you have a presentation to make, or if you have a meeting you have to go to that is a little stressful, use this. It can give you that extra boost, that extra support and courage you need to be successful at it. It's grounding, it balances the emotions, it assists in aligning both our mind and our body. It boosts our self-esteem, promotes attention and focus. It contains black spruce, camphor, blue tansy, frankincense, and geranium. And it is a beautiful, beautiful blue color. Both of these and Stress Away, they can all be used on our fur babies as well. Just, put a drop between your hands, let them smell it. If they don't like it, they'll leave. But if they're liking it, then just start petting their coat with it. If you have some anxious pets, it's a good thing to try out. Tranquil. Tranquil Roll-On contains lavender, which relaxes the body and helps induce sleep. Cedarwood, which stimulates the release of melatonin, helping to induce sleep. Roman chamomile helps to calm and relax the body and mind. Many, many people use this as a nightly routine, rolling it on their feet. Okay, the last one is Super B. Remember, the B vitamins are the stress vitamins. And what happens when when the acid is reduced in the stomach? The B vitamins was one of those things that did not get utilized well. So already in a deficiency. Put that on top of the fact that they're water soluble, so your body doesn't store them, which means they need to be replenished every day. So Super B was formulated to support the mood, energy levels, cognitive, and cardiovascular function. And it contains nutmeg essential oil. What happens when it contains an essential oil? That bioavailability gets boosted big time. So it contains B1 thiamine, which is a stabilizer mood, supports healthy nervous system, boosts memory and concentration. B2 riboflavin, it calms the nervous system, regulates mood and energy, metabolizes fats and carbohydrates. It has niacin B3 to stabilize mood. Low levels contribute to stress, irritability, low mood, and depression. So that's what we're trying to avoid here. So you don't want to be low on B3. It helps control a healthy blood sugar level and digestion. B6 is pyridoxine. It supports our immune system during times of anxiety, supports adrenal function, makes neurotransmitters such as serotonin the mood booster. Remember, that's what happens that's what gets developed gets produced in our gut. 90% of it gets produced in our gut. It's very important. B9, folate. It supports proper brain function, improves our mood, prevents birth defects. B12, cyanocobalamin. It supports brain function development, melatonin, and serotonin production for mood and sleep. Super, super supplement here to include in our daily regimen. So that pretty much does it, everybody. I hope you got a lot out of this presentation. I thank you for joining me today.